Yo, what is up, guys? This is Troy D from the Troy D 24/7 Mall channel, your source for on point and no hype reviews. We are back again, everybody. We are back with another fragrance review right here, guys, on my lovely day off. And today, I will be talking about a fragrance from the house of Penhaligons. Yes, and this is a really nice house with a lot of really versatile fragrances. Now, if you are following this house and their releases, then you know about this fragrance I'm about to talk about. And this fragrance is a latest release. It is really for the fall winter season. So if you guys and gals are gearing up for the upcoming cold weather season, then this is definitely a fragrance review you guys might want to listen to. Now, before I continue, please do not forget to like and subscribe, guys, okay? Liking, subscribing, and watching the ads is a great big deal to this channel. And guys, like I said, we just hit 22,000 subscribers, so thank you very much for everything, guys. All my friends, all my supporters, and you right there watching this video, thank you so much for all your support. We are geared to hit 23K and beyond, so thank you very much. And the fragrance that we will be talking about today is none other than Penhaligons the Dandy. Yes, Penhaligons the Dandy, guys. Now, first and foremost, I'm sure you've noticed something different here, guys. This is a first impressions review, and you're probably wondering, Troy, what's the difference between the first impressions review and the no hype review? Well, to be honest, guys, there's just too many perfumes to review, okay? I mean, I only have 7 days a week, and I wear perfumes once a day to review them for 7 days a week, and I have a backlog of over 30 to 35 fragrances. So to be honest, there are some fragrances that don't need a real extensive breakdown, and so this format right here, my first impressions, is actually kind of like a semi in-depth breakdown of all of these fragrances. Now, this fragrance right here, the Dandy, just looking at the presentation of the sample, looking at the bottle, looking at the marketing that Penhaligons has been putting out there, it's pretty obvious that the inspiration of this fragrance is the Great Gatsby. All right, the concept, definitely, it's Great Gatsby-ish. And Great Gatsby, this is a novel turned movie, and it is about the 1920s jazz era in New York City, guys, or New York City, or just America in general. But the whole movie, definitely a classy jazz era-esque movie with Leo DiCaprio. And, you know, definitely I would say that in terms of the presentation, this definitely sets that up very, very well. Now, fragrances like the Dandy, I mean, fall winter fragrances, I don't usually talk about them during the summer season, but this definitely intrigued me, not just because of the concept of the jazz era in New York, but also the notes, you know, the note breakdown got me interested. I mean, definitely a whiskey, boozy fragrance is something I'm sure a lot of y'all will be interested about, but also the pyramid itself got me curious because some things just didn't make any sense. Having the mid, having the whiskey accord, and then the top notes having notes like raspberry and citron and things like that. Really, I was just like, I wonder how that would actually play out. And so I got the sample, which is really cool because this is actually for free from Penhaligons. You can get this for free. All you pay for, guys, is shipping. So great job, Penhaligons, for spreading this around and making sure everybody gets to try it. Anyways, let's go spray this thing right now. Okay, guys, now let's talk about this fragrance right here, Penhaligons the Dandy, my first impressions. And again, I've worn this about 3 times now, and so I've got a lot of things to say. First and foremost, this opening right here, whiskey. All right, this is definitely a whiskey accord opening, guys. And I gotta say, on the booze meter, this is pretty high on the booze meter, meaning the whiskey is actually gonna be the spotlight note or accord here in the opening of Penhaligons the Dandy. And with this prominent and smooth whiskey note comes oak wood. All right, you got oak wood, which is a, you know, natural smelling, heavier woody note. and it's the perfect complement. I mean, other companies like Killian have used the oak cask accord, you know, on other fragrances of theirs, and this oak wood obviously goes very well with this real prominent and smooth whiskey accord. So for booze lovers, yes, you will get a tantalizing, impactful start of that whiskey slash oak accord that is real nice if you like that kind of stuff. And so yeah, definitely whiskey in the beginning. Now, I'm sure if you've heard about this fragrance, one of those things you want to know is, where do these weird top notes come into play? Because you've got citron, you've got bergamot, and you've got raspberry. These are listed as top notes here in the Dandy. And so, you know, by nature, it's supposed to come out first. No, I mean, you're supposed to like maybe smell something fruity and something citrusy in the beginning, and then the whiskey is supposed to like just come up right there, right? But no, guys, obviously not. If you know your perfumes, whiskey accords plus oak plus other woody balsamic notes, I feel like there's Davana here as well. These are stronger. These are much, much stronger than any citrus or fruity note, unless you're using like the same raspberry that the Middle Eastern frags use for their leather oud raspberry fragrances. But no, that is not what's happening here. All these notes, citron, bergamot, and raspberry, are really underlying notes that, to be honest, you might barely just smell, because a lot of what your nose is probably focusing on is the booze and the oak wood. Now, the citron here, I can confirm, appears as a top note, but it's more of the uplifting balancer in the beginning as you spray this fragrance. And you can feel this because as the fragrance goes into the mid, this citron disappears and you actually feel like a settled down warming period versus the start of the fragrance. And to me, I mean, the best way I could compare it to, it's kind of like the ice in the whiskey, if you will. All right, the cold ice in the whiskey when it comes out, and that's kind of like where the citrus comes here. Okay, the citrus is just that uplifting balancer, real top note, guys, before the whiskey accord truly takes over right here. Now, I'm sure some of y'all are interested about the raspberry note right here in the intro of the Dandy. Now, what I can say is that this raspberry note, although you can smell it, is definitely embedded under everything. All right, it is kind of like a berry aroma that you can smell around you in this fragrance, guys. All right, so again, the citron is kind of like the ice cubes, the spark in the beginning, and then the raspberry is well embedded under that whiskey accord. So you're smelling the booze, you're smelling the woods, and then you're also smelling a low-key dark raspberry, like a comforting raspberry smell just lingering around you. And again, you can smell the difference once the raspberry is gone. So I don't know if, you know, you're just smelling these fragrances and your nose is more on the whiskey accord, but because I know that there's raspberry, I mean, I'm trying to find it here and it's definitely embedded, but it is here because in the mid of this fragrance, that disappears, and then you have just the pure like whiskey oak combination. Okay, now let's talk about initial sillage and projection of Penhaligon's the Dandy. This fragrance right here has a nice, gracious, lingering draw-in scent approach, which is different from other boozy fragrances that are stronger in the punch like Ursa. And I mean, Straight to Heaven is kind of nice too. I would say they're kind of like the same in strength as Straight to Heaven. This is a nice lingering draw-in scent, again with some lingering aromas of that embedded raspberry, but mostly it's still gonna be your boozy whiskey and oak, guys. All right, and my first impression, definitely very Great Gatsby. All right, my impression was, man, this is a nighttime elegant upscale grabber, maybe masculine leaning, I would say, but again, for those that have experienced like boozy perfumes that are too strong, too much, this is a much more smoother whiskey type of fragrance, again with some modifiers in the beginning. Now, Most of the mid is gonna be that whiskey accord with that oak. And there's some smokiness actually that appears in the mid with the woods of the mid. And it's a very nice like smokiness. But again, it's much more tame than the intro of the fragrance. So I would say that the mid is a settled down period of the oak and the whiskey accord, guys. Now, the whole coverage of the booze is up to 5 hours into my testing, guys. All right, so you do get a good coverage, but make no mistake, this isn't like a non-booze fragrance with just a little bit of booze. This is straight up like whiskey, smooth whiskey and oak wood. And so if you're not into boozy fragrances, this won't be for you at all. But if you are one of the bold and daring people that want to wear something like this, and definitely it is a masculine type of perfume that, you know, gives you a lot of strength and classiness in your character, then definitely this is something to wear. Okay, now let's talk about the dry down of this fragrance that starts at the 5 hour mark. Now, this fragrance definitely is not one of those boozy fragrances that to me is for like the mainstream guys, because most boozy mainstream fragrances usually start with booze and then they end up with, you know, like amber or some fruity notes or some reveal notes that, you know, most of the mainstream will enjoy. No, this one right here stays true to the jazz era and the nights at the jazz club, because the dry down of the fragrance is basically a fade to black. All right, you have the notes of ambroxan as well as patchouli and clearwood. And the patch here is definitely prominent. It's a dark woody patchouli here in the dry down. And the ambroxan, although it is not a real powerful ambroxan, guys, it does provide kind of like that zing in the end, that ambroxan musky ending that goes well with a woody patchouli mix towards the ending of the dandy. Now, I will say it is a fade to black ending, so this stays true to the whole thing, which is, you know, if you are into real congruent fragrances that go from start to finish with the same mood, same character, same projection, this is definitely one to wear if you are into boozy, straightforward fragrances. Now, ultimately, I like this fragrance, all right? I mean, I have Straight to Heaven, which I use actually when I do nighttime outings. I wear Straight to Heaven. And so the Dandy is a nice alternative, guys. And especially if I'm going to wear an actual blazer and look the part, wear my Omega watch and my Rolex, then the Dandy will definitely play a better part with my overall character and aura versus Straight to Heaven, I'd say. And Straight to Heaven, I can wear that, you know, wearing a leather jacket. But the Dandy, there's just something really formal about it, guys. Very upscale and formal, maybe even mature. And with that being said, I think that there's going to be a lot of people that might like this fragrance. And the fact that it doesn't really stray away from that boozy woodiness, smokiness, and even spiciness, guys. It doesn't really shy away. And the raspberry, again, is a nice touch in the intro, an underlying berry aroma here that kind of wakes you up in the beginning, but then mostly it's going to be fade to black gradient, jazz club, nighttime type of perfume. So I think that it's a nice fragrance, guys. And interestingly, I can't find it on the website, guys. Maybe they're just giving out samples to kind of have feelers and they'll eventually release the product, guys. But given Penhaligons, normally these fragrances are expensive, but they're not too expensive. But again, try this fragrance. Get a sample for free at the Penhaligons website and picture yourself, you know, if you're gonna wear something for like a formal social night and you are gonna wear like a nice blazer or tux combination and you want to smell something like this, then why not get a full bottle, guys? But yeah, like I said, I feel like to me there are gonna be a lot of people that will like this fragrance. I wouldn't say that this is gonna be like a mainstream hit, but it's gonna be like a niche, kind of like some people will really like it and some won't. Again, it's very straightforward. The marketing is there to kind of warn you ahead of time, guys. The Dandy, very upscale, gentlemanly, classy, boozy fragrance. Straightforward, patchouli ambroxan ending, patchouli woods ending. Real nice, guys, okay? By the way, total performance was about 10 to 11 hours. It's not really a super long-lasting scent because it's a draw-in to begin with. It's mostly a consistent draw-in scent for the people closer to you guys. All right, and again, that is it. That is my no hype review, first impressions review on Penhaligons the Dandy. Let me know in the comments below what y'all think of this fragrance. If you've tried it, it's pretty straightforward, guys, and that's the reason why I'm doing this format of my reviews. No in-depth, like super in-depth, because it's pretty simple, straightforward, guys. All right, and that is it. I'll see you guys on the next video, guys. Let me know if you like this format. God bless, take care, peace.